The Billionaire's Promise by Shadonna Richards. Narrated by L.W. Salinas. Chapter 1. You want me to promise you what? Brandon Knight asked incredulously. That you'll do everything in your power to avoid the family curse, Jonah Belmont III said matter-of-factly. He sat beside the stone fireplace in his study at the Belmont Palace, the 100-year-old mansion his great-grandfather built. I want you to have a lifetime of happiness and love. You need to settle down, and when you do, place your boutonniere in this heirloom brass bucket. Brandon shook his head. Heat rushed through his blood. It's hard for me to even accept you as my father after all these years, he admitted to Jonah. Even before their worlds collided, Brandon was quite familiar with Mr. Belmont, the powerful tycoon and heir to the Belmont Hotel dynasty. The town was named after Jonah's great-grandfather, the first Jonah E. Belmont, a pioneer in the early days who had a hand in building the small town of Belmont. Disbelief overwhelmed Brandon's senses, and that wasn't easy to do. Brandon had seen a lot in his life. After all, he was a former detective who dug up all sorts of crazy stuff on other people. But this? He could not have seen this one coming. Yes, son, I understand. Please don't call me son. What else can I say, Brandon? I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Knowing that the doctor has given me a limited time before anything happens to me, I had you run this special project for me to find and locate any possible missing heirs. I had no idea that you would be one. I don't want or need anything from you. I know you've done well for yourself. Jonah's mouth twitched slightly into a proud smile. I see you've inherited the entrepreneurial gene. I'm very proud of all you've accomplished. Being a detective, owning a successful security systems empire, and I've heard you even have other investments in different businesses too. You're a silent partner in that new restaurant, Brenna's, right? Please don't talk about that. Brandon's tone was ice cold. His foster mother was named Brenna. When he agreed to partner with a friend to open the restaurant, he wanted to do it in her name. That's right. He grew up in foster homes. His life hadn't been all that perfect during his youth. I'm sorry. I know you were very close to your foster mother. She was your foster mother, right? Brandon didn't say anything else. His name was Brandon Jonah Knight, at least on his birth certificate. When working full-time as a detective in his agency, he'd often gone by the name Jojo, short for Jonah. But now that he was aware Jonah Belmont was his biological father, Brandon was all too happy to go back to using his given name. He wanted nothing to do with this man. Why do you despise me so much, son? Actually, you can start calling me Brandon. I don't think I'll be using Jojo in my new line of work, and especially knowing now that it's short for Jonah. Fine then, Jonah said. Look, Brandon, I'm very sorry about your mother. Sorry that you didn't find out she was pregnant after your affair with her? That's not fair, Brandon. What's not fair, sir, is that she felt she had nowhere to turn. She knew you were privileged and married. I was going through a divorce at the time. Doesn't matter. She was afraid to let you know. She didn't have anything. She left me on the doorstep of a church when I was a young kid. I'm very sorry to hear that. Jonah cast down his eyes. Jonah was all set, wasn't he? Brandon thought to himself. Sitting on a wealthy, multi-generational empire. What did he ever have to worry about in life? Brandon was shuffled from foster home to foster home until he'd been taken in by Brenna and her husband. Lovely people. Noble. Which was more than what he thought about Jonah Belmont right now. I know you don't think much of me, Brandon. I've made mistakes in my life, just like everyone else, but I'm trying to make up for them. Brandon looked out the window of the grand study with a breathtaking view of Lake Belmont. He didn't know if he was coming or going. I beg of you to give me a chance. You know I don't—
Sample complete. Ready to continue?